What if you could help write the story? This is the Brew and Ink podcast. All right, well, welcome. Is this episode 16?
This is 16.
Episode 16
We
of
have
Brew
survived.
and Ink.
Of the Boneyard.
Of the Boneyard.
We're kind of, we're muddying up the waters a bit with which episode we're on.
We are.
Because we've got the interbrews in there now.
And I'm getting the numbers all wrong.
Yeah.
I'm just getting the number. Steven's like, you called this episode whatever. And
it was really this episode.
It was really this one. But we're just going to take a few minutes and let you guys know what's going on in the future. Because there are some changes happening that are awesome, and I think that they're going to be bring a lot of value to you guys who are our listeners. And the podcast is growing. So the first thing we're going to talk about, and I'll just kind of start it off here, is we have been syndicated through a website called SeriousWriter.com, and this is a website that is designed to help writers, give them information, give them videos, give them training, inspire them. And of course, they don't have a podcast that is a part of their website. And through some of our connections, especially that we made at Realm Makers a month and a half, man, it was like a month and a half ago, that anyway, we were offered, someone said, well, why don't we just syndicate your podcast, since we were talking to a lot of people about the podcast.
Yeah.
And we were like, we don't know what that means, but yes.
We're super excited about it. Yeah.
So basically, this will be part of their website as well as part of who we are. And so we will start saying, sponsored by or syndicated at or something. We'll give some sort of little tagline at some point in the episode. But really, this is a great connection because it's going to be able to give us a lot more access to other resources of people to interview and talk to and bring you guys
valuable information.
Really valuable information. And as we were just talking before we started recording, you will hopefully start to hear other people than me and Steven interview some of these people. Anyway, it's going to be great. And this is through my agent Kyle Young and some authors that have put this together. So that's kind of the first big thing. So the first episode that will go live on that blog is on September the 12th, and we are going to be starting on September 12th, since this story Boneyard is
concluding
coming
up, the last episode.
This is the last episode. And so on the 12th, we will start what, Steven?
We're going to start some flash fiction competition.
Fiction competition.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun. We're super excited about it. We put together, a list of like 50 different potential titles that we might have to work from. And then we've got some genres that we're going to have to work from. And we're going to basically go head to head against each other to see who can, come out the flash fiction king or queen. And one of the things we're going to do next Monday, we're going to have a Facebook Live session, and we're going to, we're going to draw the names out of the hats for the titles and the genres and who's going to go head-to-head in this first round. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Check us out on Facebook Live.
This Monday.
Yeah, we want you to be involved with the process and put in some suggestions. Maybe you could throw out some titles and we could run with those. But yeah, get involved on the Facebook Lives. Again, we're on there every Monday. Every other Monday as a group, as a part of our writers group, and then the Mondays in between, we try to give you some kind of update or content from one or two of us, and it's going to be really good. So Sarah, why don't you tell us a little bit about what we're doing for Flash Fiction?
Because we keep saying Flash Fiction, people are probably like, that sounds cool, what is it? So Flash Fiction is just going to be short stories that we write based on the titles and genres that we pick on our Facebook Live videos. It's a great opportunity for us as writers to stretch our limits or get out of our comfort zones, write things in areas that we may or may not be familiar with, or and it's just a fun way to celebrate the end of our first season and work on our second and just sort of like have some fun with each other and connect with the audience. So we'll be writing some short stories. We'll be sharing them on the podcast.
Yeah.
After we've drawn our genres and titles, and then we'll do it all again for the next round, and then we'll do something with the winner of each round.
Yeah.
So that's what that's all about. And I think Bill's gonna read some of our
I've got a couple of titles we came up with. Any of these could be in the hat, which is kind of scary when you think about it. Okay, I'm going to start off with one of my favorites, unicorn poop.
nice.
Okay.
That one did get in there.
And of course, one that actually would really be fun is system failure. Sorry, recalculating. Not again. That's pretty broad. I'm kind of hoping to draw that one, to tell you the truth.
Depending on what the genre is matched up with that.
I ain't got time to bleed. Okay. My all-time favorite, hold my beer. Out of the mirror. Wow, that one's scary. That makes me remember a movie. The loose brick. Okay.
I like that one.
I like
So,
that
I mean,
one,
there's a
actually.
lot in here, but think about the possibilities with these for 1,000, and then you have to write that whole story that's in your head in 1,000 words or less. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
Good luck. I'm going to...
Did we say 800 words?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's... No,
I think
it's 1,000, isn't it?
It is 1,000 for the. So what inspired us is a couple publication magazines, and they keep it under 1,000. But we were talking about just making it even harder on ourselves and keeping it
That's
under
it.
800.
Please
Yeah.
don't. Not with these titles. Naming the baby. Oh my gosh, you kidding
Oh,
me?
I like that one.
That's a fight, man. Come on. No, I'm sorry. The Annoying Mirage. I like that one. Okay, so we got some great titles here. Now, we've got a list of 40-something titles here already, and we're going to have more over time. So what's exciting about this is we may draw none of these titles. We may draw one of the other 35 titles that I didn't talk about here.
Yeah. But again, we're hoping to do this, kind of in between our writing seasons, and it gives us a great pool to pull from when we get back to this.
And a chance to jump outside our genres.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and that's the biggest.
Because I want to see Britt write Western.
Oh, I would love to write a Western. I actually have an idea for a Western. Silverado is one of my favorite movies. I actually have the Sons of Katie Elder in my...
Both of which were way longer than 1,000
Oh,
words.
no. I just say I really like Westerns, especially the old John Wayne movies. So the funny ones are when Jimmy Stewart was in a Western. Like the skinniest guy you could possibly think of. And he's supposed to be the toughest guy. So, as you guys know, if you've been listening, the idea of this podcast was to do writing exercises, basically, is to have fun, do writing exercises, put it in a format where you guys get to be involved as the audience.
Yep.
And so that's kind of the purpose of what we're doing here. And it's going to kind of kick off at the same time when we're starting with Serious Writer. So it's all going to kind of happen at once. And we're going to try to do it through the end of the year. And there's going to be a big prize for the winner at the end. I'm not exactly sure. We're not exactly sure what that is yet. Maybe something to do with brews and books or something. I don't know. So anyway, so you guys just check it out.
And one other thing is we've got coming up, for those of you that are local, but even if you're not living here in the fine state of Georgia, you can support our local libraries. We're going to be going to a gala event that is supporting the Gwinnett local libraries, and we've been asked to kind of do some interviews and stuff there, but for our end, we really just want to promote it, and I love the library. I grew up going to the library, and that's where I fell in love with literature, and like I have some fond memories, like just going to. I'll go to a library by myself on a break in between, a lunch break or something like that. So I love the library, and I want to see it stay current, stay relevant with
Yeah, and the county that we're in, just the local library that we have here, is a great library. And Nick Stone is going to be at this event. And so, if she's a friend of ours and friend of the podcast, so we're really excited about it. It's not just going to be about our local library. It's going to be about libraries and reading and books and literature in general, and just how we can continue to keep people reading. I mean, that's an important thing in our culture. I read an article the other day about how social media has taught us to skim and not really read.
Yeah.
And how important it is to actually really engage when
With
we
the
read
content, yeah.
with the content. And that's, you know, in libraries, man, my family lives at the library.
Yeah.
We are on the computer all the time with our kids, and our kids know how to get on there with their own student numbers now, and they
Yeah.
just get on there and request books. And so I am very supportive of our local libraries and our local schools, and so there's been some open doors for us to get involved in that too, which is really exciting. So there's some really exciting stuff coming up, guys, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how a lot of this is going to play out.
Yeah, so check out our Facebook page and look for any kind of links or anything that we share about that. I know they're using a hashtag, putting on the lit. Putting on the lit.
That's good.
Yeah.
One other announcement we need to make is about October the 6th. There's going to be a writing conference here in the Atlanta area, so we just want to let people know about that. And just be checking your calendars if you're in the Gwinnett especially or northern Atlanta area. Just come to this writers conference. It's going to be on October 6th at Artios Academies in Sugar Hill. It's one of the Serious Writer with the website that we're connected with now. It's going to be one of their writing conferences, but it's like a one day or something.
Look for us to post
Some stuff about that.
Awesome. I'm excited.
So those are our announcements. Well, let's get to the episode, man. Enough about us.
Yeah.
Let's see what Deb and
Walt,
these guys and
Troy.
Walt and all these guys are doing.
All right. Let's dive into it. Boneyard, episode 16, the final episode. I looked at Walt and Troy as I sat on the back of Eamon's motorcycle. You come straight home after selling that tank and get in the car. No dawdling, you hear me? There was no way to bring the others with us. The tank wasn't practical, and Maria's helicopter was trashed. That left us with Eamon's motorcycle. The bike's engine growled, settling into a deep purr. What about them? Walt asked, pointing at Doc and Maria. They're on their own. We'll find a way out of here, Doc said. I got what I need. He stood with a hand on Maria, who still clasped tightly to her stone, recovering from her loss of power. My mind went back to the vial of blood I had given him. He had no more need for us. Maria got to her feet and Eamon shot her a glare. She tried speaking, though it came out as a dry wheeze. What's she trying to say? Troy asked. Sounded like she said, wait, Walt suggested. Let's go, I said to Eamon. He didn't move, his eyes considering Maria. She stood up taller, finding her voice. Wait, there's something you must know. Those aren't normal government men after you. They're a secret branch, a small task force. They have stolen stones before. They have weaponized them before, but they've exhausted their cash that they pilfered. If they get more, they'll use the power to take life rather than give it. They will corrupt the power. All were silent as the weight of these words sank in. Eamon finally broke the silence. Now that's something we both agree on. I don't plan on letting any more power-hungry people get a hold of these stones. Maria needs the stones to stay alive. That's different, Doc shot back. We were so close. Sustaining the power of the stones without the need of constant proximity. Eamon, you're ruining all of that. I've seen this all before. The need creates dependency. Dependency creates a desire to control the power, which then leads to an abuse of that power. I'm sorry. Without another word, we tore off through the woods. Eamon's riding armor radiated a pale green luminescence off of me from the stone, polished and faceted, embedded in the back of it. I had a feeling that gemstone did more than just keep Eamon filled with vitality. My hand rested on the saddlebag filled with the stash Eamon had taken from Maria. I could feel my body drawing on the power of the stone, yearning to hold one. I was getting very familiar with that feeling. I saw visions, being dependent like Maria, frail and broken without the stone, my body on the brink of death, having lived well beyond its prime. I shuddered. The wind whipping through my hair was revitalizing. The thrill of the high speeds felt electrifying. My mind cleared. The 3-hour road trip flew by as I considered what we were going to do once we arrived. I prayed my Papa was all right. I hadn't prayed in years. I even told God I forgave Papa for the way he'd been treating us. I just want my old Papa back, safe and sound. I ended my petition to the Almighty as we rolled into town. It was still early morning. We parked one street down. I pocketed a stone from the bag, then followed Eamon. We spotted 2 cars parked hidden beside the house, government types. Eamon pulled me down behind some bushes as we got close. 4 men in suits were walking in and out. A flash of green light flared from inside and I heard a muffled thud. "This is bad," Eamon said. "That green light, they've found the rocks. They've weaponized it." "What does that mean?" "It means we need to wait until they clear out or until we know where the stones are before we make our move." "I need to make sure my papa is okay," I urged. "Deb," Eamon said, his green eyes looking deep into mine. "He's already dead. That green flash in there, that weapon kills instantly. Who else would they have been shooting at in there?" "No," I pleaded, but I knew the truth. We had come too late. "Papa," I trailed off in a silent goodbye. These men were going to pay for this. I clutched the stone in my pocket. "Stand down, Deb. We need a plan. We need a place to watch and wait for a better opportunity." We hid in the abandoned shed next door for the better part of the afternoon. My neighbors haven't been back here in 10 years, I'd say. "I can tell," Eamon said, his eyes never leaving the small window through which he watched the activity at my house. "No signs of the rock," he said, "and no signs that they're leaving anytime soon. These suits seem to be waiting for something." I ventured to ask a question I had been pondering while sitting quietly for the past few hours. "Eamon, have you always been a guardian?" He just grunted and shook his head. "Well, it doesn't look like I'll be going home ever again. Take me on as an apprentice. I mean, you can't be a guardian forever, right? I'd only give up the responsibility if I were dead, and I don't plan on dying anytime soon." "But what if you did die? Then there would be no one to take the mantle, right? I've got no one left, no home that's safe. Let me shadow you and learn to do what you do." "You've got your brother." "Troy, I just remembered they were supposed to be meeting us here right after the sale this morning. That was hours ago. And knowing Troy, that 3-hour drive would be more like 2 if he had something fast." As if on cue, the roar of an engine crescendoed from down the street as a brand new 1965 gray Shelby Cobra 427 came screaming to a halt in front of our house. "See, Troy," Walt was saying, "nobody even home. There was no need for that reckless driving." "Yeah, there was," Troy said, gesturing at the car. "It's a bona fide Shelby Cobra." "Way to be inconspicuous, guys." Eamon sighed. "What are they doing? They're gonna get themselves killed." Walt lumbered out of the low door, struggling with something bulky. From the looks of it, I guessed it was a bag full of money. I smacked my forehead as Walt sauntered right up to the garage. At least he was looking around to check his surroundings. The front door banged open. A group of 5 agents in black suits and ties came pouring out onto the front porch. The last one had a touch of gray in his hair and carried a funny-looking rifle. Plastic. Like a toy or something, but with what looked like to be a vial of power juice in the top of it. "What are those?" I whispered to Eamon. "That's what I feared. They already synthesized the stone. That ain't no ordinary rifle." "Well, what do we have here?" said the gray-haired agent. "Boss," said a short, squat man next to him, "it appears they came back, just as you said they would." "Who the hell are you guys, and what are you doing in my house? Where's my pa?" Troy yelled from in front of his car. "Boy," scoffed Gray Hair, "you ain't the one who should be shouting demands. You see, y'all been messing around with things y'all shouldn't be involved with. My team here, we're trained to handle these, special situations. As for your pa, is that the guy I had to vaporize earlier today for being stubborn? He wouldn't tell me where you kids were. Kept saying he'd already turned y'all in." "You killed him?" Troy said in disbelief. The idea seemed to slowly sink into Troy's mind, finally settling in, his face lit with rage. He palmed the stone behind his back. With a defiant yell, Troy hurled the rock into the face of the nearest suit. The wet thwack was clearly heard all the way in our shed. Troy dashed forward, leaping into the air a good 5 feet, fueled by the stone and adrenaline. He came down with an elbow into the head of the next suit, who dropped as well. I jumped out of my hiding spot and rushed to help Troy, Eamon on my tail. But before I could get to Troy, Gray-haired opened fired. A green bolt of light shot out and straight through Troy's torso. His clothes immediately caught fire, and before he could even cry out, his body seared and disintegrated right in front of my eyes. My heart dropped into my stomach. Troy, no! I thought I had said it silently, but Walt and the 3 remaining suits all turned their heads towards our direction. Walt dropped the bag of money and ran around the garage out of the suit's line of sight. Greyhair handed the Bimini rifle to one of the other suits. You take care of him. I'll handle Little Miss over here myself. Damnation, Eamon said. Come on, we gotta save Walt. I didn't follow Eamon as he took off around the garage. I was glued in place, staring at the pile of ash that had just been my brother. That was Troy. Just seconds ago, that was my brother. Not even the stones could bring him back this time. He always made it out of his dumb choices, sometimes scathed, but never this. Never dead. He was just gone. Him and Papa both. My eyes met those of old Greyhair. He was going to pay for their deaths. A sneer formed on his face as he held out a Bimini stone in his hand. Looking for these? He jeered. I glared at him, boring holes into his soul. There was a commotion from the woods behind the garage, yelling and laser blast. Greyhair's focus flitted towards the noise. I had an opening. I made my move. Scooping up the rock Troy had thrown earlier, I charged. In a wide arc, I slammed my fist into Greyhair's gut. My knuckles popped as if hitting a brick wall. Greyhair staggered back a step, then grabbed my arm. He was so strong. He flung me up into the porch's overhang and I splintered the boards. Getting back to my feet, I pounced on him, giving a good right hook. It staggered him, but as long as he was holding that stone, I was no match for him. I needed an upper hand. I needed Eamon. I ran in the direction they had gone, gray-haired right on my heels, matching my speed. Coming around the corner, I saw Walt flat on his back, Eamon shielding him. A green bolt connected with Eamon's armor and then bounced off. I knew that armor had a secret to it. 2 more bolts rebounded, scorching the earth where they struck. Before the suit could fire again, I chucked my stone at the agent's head. He went down. "Eamon, help!" I yelled. Eamon left Walt and came to my rescue. Greyhair and Eamon went toe-to-toe, fists connecting in earth-shaking punches. Eamon had Greyhair on the defensive, but Greyhair got Eamon's arm in a lock and flipped him over, smashing Eamon on his back. The green gemstone in his armor shattered. Getting back to his feet, Eamon shot in for Greyhair's leg, taking him down to the ground. He began pummeling him relentlessly. Movement to my right caught my attention. It was the last suit. He was making his way for the rifle. I turned and ran towards him, but I wasn't going to make it. "Look out!" I yelled. A green bolt blasted out. The shot was off, but it still hit, grazing Eamon's neck. Eamon's shirt caught fire as he continued to throttle Greyhair. I reached the suit with the rifle at full speed and clocked him square in the jaw. I heard it crack and felt it shatter beneath my fist. "That was for my papa!" I screamed, the emotion taking over. Then I grabbed the rifle and turned, facing Eamon and Greyhair. Eamon was on his back now, Greyhair on top of him. I squeezed the trigger. My shot hit center mass. "And that was for Troy!" I screamed it so loud my voice cracked. Old Greyhair burst into flame and then dusted. Walt and I ran to Eamon's side. His clothes were burnt through. The place where the shot had hit his neck was slowly eating away at Eamon's flesh. Walt placed a stone on Eamon's body, but the flesh continued to disintegrate slowly, like a poison rotting away the skin. Eamon turned to me with his last ounce of strength. "I have fought through many lifetimes. This was long overdue." Then, with his last breath, he requisitioned me. "Deb, I pass on the mantle. To you." Then his lungs exhaled one last time as his body was consumed by the quickening decomposition. "No," Walt shook his head in disbelief. "He's gone," I whispered more to myself than to Walt. "What did that mean, Deb? About the mantle?" I knew what it meant. "It means I'm the new guardian. There's nothing left for me here. No home, no family. It's up to me to make sure no one else gets a hold of these stones. Up to me to keep them safe." Walt took me by the hand, helping me to my feet. Looking deep into my eyes, "No, Deb," he said. "It's up to us. We'll do this together." I wanted to protest, but for once in my life I didn't contradict Walt. Instead, I told him to grab the bag of money he dropped. Grabbing the Mamini rifle, I then went and collected all the stones, adding them to the duffel bag sitting on my front porch. We settled into Troy's Shelby. It took us back to where we had left Eamon's bike. Pulling out the rest of the stones from the saddlebag, I put them in the trunk with the others. That was all of them, as far as we knew. Standing there behind the car, I stopped and pulled off the green liquid from the rifle. Using my enhanced strength, I crushed the rifle and tossed it into the woods. Then I emptied the vial of liquid into the gas tank of the Cobra. Now we were ready. Settling into the driver's seat, I gripped the steering wheel with finality. I didn't quite know where we were going, but I felt like there was someone out there who would help us make that decision, as if our whole adventure had hinged on the whims of some all-powerful force outside of our realm of control, dictating our choices for us. I think it gave me peace to know that it wasn't all up to me. I looked over at Walt. He was waiting for me to tell him the plan or give him options. Better buckle up, I said. It's gonna be one hell of a ride. Then I punched the gas, green flames illuminating in my rear view. The car lurched forward with a punch that got my adrenaline pumping and the hairs on my neck tingling. Yeah, now this was driving. Now we were racing to outpace time itself. Then,
Good job, Steven.
thank you very much.
Well, that was it.
That's
That's
it.
Man, that was the end of Boneyard.
Good job, Steven, and everyone.
And everyone, good job, everyone. So I brought something to celebrate the end of this story, with it being the last episode.
Yeah, fireworks.
Yeah, some
Sparklers?
fireworks.
I got some sparklers.
Something that'll give a little pop,
Right.
hopefully. This is a Golden
Point it
Monkey
somewhere else.
Belgian-style triple with some added spice. So
Ooh.
we'll see if we can get a good little pop off of this.
Here we go.
Ooh,
Oh, that was
alright.
nice.
Wow, that was
So
loud.
congratulations,
Wow.
guys.
Thank you.
Very good. We all put in some hard effort
Yes.
on this, and I'm happy with how it turned out.
Definitely.
What'd you guys think? The way that wrapped up.
It was really good.
For me personally, I did a lot of different rewrites. I had a bunch of different edits, and then we had
We're
different drafts.
here.
Yeah,
We're here for those first drafts.
yeah.
And, you know, as a writer, I should know this. My first drafts are painful.
Yeah.
And I look at this and I go, when I hear you read it, I'm like, okay, it became real to me. And I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed that.
Awesome.
And I thank you for doing that.
And you guys had great input, and I was able to integrate it in there. If you notice, that was a little bit longer episode because we were kind of each getting some input in there so we could just wrap it up and, you know, sort of get everyone's voice into that.
We
last
made an
episode.
exception for the end so we could wrap it up.
Yeah.
We appreciate you guys checking this out, and we hope you enjoyed this, and we hope you'll stick with us as we transition into some of these new things.
I think that wraps it up for this episode.
All right, raise your
Audio's
glass to inspiration.
Yay!
That was the end of Boneyard. We appreciate you guys checking it out, and hopefully you'll like the new season.
Yeah. Hopefully you like that season.
Yeah.
No,
Really?
that's a good point. We should probably do that.
Through the woods. Eamon's riding armor radiated a pale green.
Wow. Pale green.
Who did that?
That was
I had my
Steven.
eyes closed.
I heard that.
That splatter on the screen, dude.
That was me. I did that burp. Oh, good stuff, guys.